because I have a lot of kids coming to my shows, and afterwards they're like, I want to be a comedian. How do I do it? And I honestly don't have, I'm like, do a stand-up competition your junior year in college and wait for somebody to call you. Like, it's the worst advice at all, but that's how it worked for me.
It's true. That's great. And it is it having faith. And, it's so important to just see. And do you keep yourself occupied, maybe doing, well, now you're busy because you're doing this, full time, you're working this for a while, but, in those points, you were just doing other things, right? You're pursuing other things and kind of like, let me just keep going. And I think that's important, right? To keep moving.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought of this. So I did that tour, and then the Clay Cross tour, and then the Newsboys, Christian rock band, saw me, and they asked me to tour with them. And that turned out, that was called the Take Me to Your Leader tour. And so it was the #1 tour in Christian music that year. So all of a sudden now I'm standing in front of like 5,000 people every single night, and I'm doing shows. And then youth leaders are seeing me, and they're asking me to come do shows for their youth group. And so my career like was taking off. And then I did that I did stand up for about 3 years. And then all of a sudden the shows just dried up, like nothing happened. And we just had a baby, and so I thought, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this was just the season. And so that's another advice I'll give people is, be willing to know that if just because you want something doesn't mean it's going to happen. And so you got to be willing to do whatever. So I was fine with it. I was like, okay, well, maybe this is just just a little season of me doing stand up. And now, so we had planned to actually move back to Texas, and I was going to start teaching, but I had 3 shows for that spring. And so I decided we were going to stay in the house for the semester. And then I tried to get a teaching job the next fall. So I decided to get a job, and I got an interview at a banner warehouse, like working in a hot warehouse, which I was not excited about at all, but I was willing to do whatever to, take care of my family and stuff. And so I remember it came down to, I had an interview on Tuesday morning, and I was walking out of my house and the phone rang, and I really didn't want to go work at this banner place, but it was the only place that that I knew was hiring and stuff. And the phone rang, and it was the Newsboys, and they were like, how many dates do you have in the spring? And I was like, well, I don't want to brag, but I've got 3. And they were like, oh, we've got 64. Do you want to tour with us again?
Oh my!
And I was like, oh, yeah, I just need to call this banner shop and tell them I won't be coming in. There's even stuff like that where I think you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes to take care of yourself, take care of your family, or whatever your responsibility is, and then just be looking for, okay, what does God want us, to do? And so that's the way, I was willing to work at any job to take care of my family, but God just kept going, oh, no. This is what you're going to do. And here's the opportunity that I'm going to present to you. And, he really did have his hand of protection on me throughout all that, because it wasn't my goal in life to do stand up. So I would have quit, pretty early on if I didn't feel like, God was using me for a purpose.
Right. And it's true. And I think that point where you said, I think he tests us, right? So it's like, okay, you want this, you really want this, right? But let me dry it up for a minute. Let's see what happens, And then you stepped out to do other things. It's not like you just said, okay, well, if I can't I'm going to keep going this route and nothing's happening, I'm going to start doing something else. I find that in my life too. When I start to look elsewhere, like I'm doing something I love, I'm like, maybe then something comes out. It's so funny. It's like, all right, come on back, I want you to do this. But that's really cool.